Let's move beyond the four fears and explore future growth pitfall number 2, which is the fact that many financial brand marketing, sales, and leadership teams are stuck doing. They're operating on autopilot. And because they are operating on autopilot, they're overwhelmed, barely keeping their head above water in a sea of post-COVID chaos and confusion. In other words, they're just drowning and they're looking for a lifeline. This idea of remote work that we've all experienced now over the last 6-7 months, that's not helping either. And I don't see it really going away. I don't see us necessarily going back to what life was work-wise pre-COVID. Our personal and work lives have become even more blended than ever before. You see, PTO, post-COVID, should no longer be known as personal time off, but instead it should be transformed to please take time off. Please take off. And I'm really being serious about this, because if we find ourselves operating on autopilot, heads down, stuck in a continuous mode of doing, we're a liability. Once again, we're a cost. And we as leaders must put our oxygen mask on first, which, by the way, there's a great book written by that title from Kevin Lawrence. And this idea of putting your oxygen mask on first is why post-COVID, I have been much more intentional about taking time off. I call these days me days, and it's something that I learned from Dan Sullivan, who calls them free days. And these me days are when we as marketing and sales leaders get to step away from work. That means no email, no business books, no journals, from midnight to midnight. A whole healthy 24 hours. And whenever I learned this from Dan Sullivan, it transformed my personal life. It transformed my professional life. Because when we step away from work with no email, no business books, no business journals, we get to truly rest our minds. Because once again, we must remember, if digital transformation, it's not about technology. If digital transformation begins in the mind, and if our minds are tired and burned out, our transformation initiatives will feel like a struggle, if not an impossible feat to achieve and ultimately realize.